Mike's hot. Everybody, Mike got the green button.
Two.
Yeah, they hot. Five. 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to Sports and Culture. I'm your host, Neil Tucker. It's sponsored by Remy Martin. I'm here with my co-host,
Tyrone Massenberg, Culture Berg.
As we get into today's show, it's all about realtor buying a home. Let's introduce the panel.
My name is Norman Harvey with SRG Platinum Real Estate, licensed in D.C. and Maryland.
My name is Kyle Sterling. I'm licensed in D.C. and Maryland, a realtor with Keller Williams.
Okay, so we have a very, very esteemed panel of realtors in the DMV area. We appreciate you taking time out from your regular regimen to come up here and spend time with us. So right now, the question we want to pose for the panel and for everybody watching is, we know realtor is a passion job. So we're going to start on this side with Angela and pass it around. But the question is, I'm a realtor and I do this because...
Generational wealth. I teach my clients, I inform them, educate them about real estate and how it's not only affected my family or benefited my family and my loved ones, but how it can also benefit their families.
Well, I started in real estate because naturally I'm a giver and I like to help people. Very knowledgeable and I know a lot of people in the area. So my mom was a real estate agent. Can y'all hear me now? So I am in real estate because I like the hustle. I'm a natural hustler. Like, I'm a natural go-getter. I used to play sports, so I do what I do. But yeah, I'm competitive. But not only with that, I was kind of godfather. Then my mom did real estate, and she always thought that it would be a good move for me. Just because of my spirit and how I move and operate. I naturally give to people like free information. Information is free, but some people just don't know where to go get it from. So if I got it, I'm going to give it. So that's just my spirit, that's my nature, and that's how I treat my clients. It's not, nothing is a secret. Piggybacking off Flo, I'm all for generational wealth. I'm all for building black communities. So that's why I got into real estate.
I got in real estate. Camera right there, right? Yeah, I got in real estate. Making sure. Yeah, I got in real estate. Just to help people. You know what I mean? Like I just love helping people. I love seeing, just like Andrew was saying, I love seeing that smile on their face, especially the ones that don't think they can buy a house, and then they can end up buying a house. Like it's priceless. You know what I'm saying? Like I work with people from the bottom, from the 420 credit scores to 700, to them actually getting their keys. You know what I mean? So like that's what I do it for. Like I don't care about no money. I don't care about nothing. I just here to help them. You know what I'm saying? So I get paid to help people. You know what I'm saying? I ain't tripping off no money. It's all about the people, especially District of Columbia people. Like that's major for me. It's a big deal. It's personal. In DC, it's definitely personal. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's my reason.
Now I'm gonna steal all y'all answer because they were all so good. But the reality is, like we said, like generational wealth is huge, and there's a wealth gap between black people and other people. And so like we need black people to talk about real estate, educate on real estate, empower about real estate. Like you said, we need to tell people that you can do it when you think you can't. And so having that platform and that ability to be that liaison to show someone who couldn't do it. And then on the other end, like how can we help you get the most profit when you sell your home? And so, like, being able to, like, understand and be a voice of reasoning it's a game changer. I think we need more folks that look like us as realtors, doctors, lawyers, everything to properly represent us. And being able to have that space is just huge, and it's, like, super vital to our community.
Okay, so we're going to keep the microphone right here. What is the first step to buying a home?
Doctors, lawyers, everything to properly represent us. Being able to have that space is huge, like, super vital to our community.
Right, so we're going to keep the show moving. What's the first step to buying a home?
The first step to buying a home, the first step to buying a home is speaking to a realtor. And you can speak to a lender, but I think that the first step is talking to a realtor and being educated. It's not going to a house. It's not figuring out the bedrooms, the bathrooms, or the countertops. It's getting the knowledge about what's the home buying process. Am I financially able to buy a home? How do I prepare myself financially? Who are the working parties of a home buying process that I need to bring in? What are contingencies? And so all of those things happen in that education meeting. And so for my organization in particular, we have what's called like a home buying consultation. And that consultation is to educate you and empower you, because a lot of times it's not just education, but you need that courage and confidence of I can be a home buyer and I know what it means to be a home buyer.
What about the credit score?
Good question. Credit score, you could buy a house with a 580 actually. I prefer a 680 for a lot of my clients because the thing is you can get a house, but the interest rate to be super high. So I always suggest to my clients, I refer them off the different, credit repair people that I know. Get their credit up to at least a 660, 700 plus credit score. Get them a great interest rate. That way, a mortgage is pretty affordable, and so that's super important. Just try to get you a good credit score to get you a affordable mortgage, and don't worry about just getting a quick house with a 580, 600 credit score, and you stuck with a super, high mortgage, and end up living house poor. You know what I mean? So, yeah. That's pretty much credit score.
So as when you get interviewed for being a realtor, and there's some questions that your consumer wants to ask you, things that they want to know before they hire you as to be their realtor. Mm-hmm. What's one of the most important questions that a home buyer should ask a realtor so they can gain their trust into you providing them with the best service that you can have, that they can get?
The most important question to me that a home buyer should ask a realtor is what that realtor is going to do for them. How is that realtor going to represent them in a transaction, in a situation? The way the market is now, you have to be aggressive. But you also have to know who your client is and represent them well, right? So if you know your client has certain limitations, you have to understand that, and you have to educate them on, one, what they can and sometimes cannot do, and how they can just move and operate within this real estate market right now, because it's different. It's a lot of it different. So I give out a lot of free advice, and I like to educate my clients from the jump. Like Cal said, that's one of the most important things. Is I don't ever want anybody to make an uninformed decision. So I like to educate my clients and let them know the entire process, start to finish, what could or could not happen, and let them be able to say, hey, let's go this way or the other. So.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about today's market, where we at currently. Where is the market right now? Is it a seller's? Is it a buyer market?
It's a crazy market. A lot of people ask me that question. And my answer to that question is it's both. And the reason why I say it's both, and it's transitioning a little bit, but the interest rates were so low, it was the better time for a buyer to consider to purchase a home. But because the inventory was so low, it created a seller's market. So I would say it's both. You just have to, in this market, to me, I love all of my newer agents, my agents that are out there getting it and learning the market. I kind of feel a little sorry for them in this market because it could be a little brutal, but you really have to work with an experienced agent. Before you could have a relationship with listing agents, or there could be some type of established relationship between the listing and buyer agent that could give you some leverage. That doesn't happen anymore. So you really need an agent who understands the market and who has some good experience, you know what I mean, to help them get through it, because you can get, buyers can get burned out. I know agents who get burned out, and I know buyers who get burned out. It's very stressful. So it's very good and it's business. So a lot of people want to support family members and friends, but you really have to know what your agent can do for you, like what Ashley said. So to me, that's very important. But to answer your question, to me, it is a buyer and seller market. It is transitioning a little bit. I've been through this for a couple decades, so I see things happening, and I see the market going into a different direction. And I don't want to answer that question right. Go into that right now and scare people, but I see it transitioning. So right now is the time to get your feet wet, get your feet embedded, lay your foundation, and so you can, build that generational wealth.
Okay. So we have FHA, and then we have conventional loans. What do you suggest as a new home buyer? What is the best loan to jump into, and also the best lender?
FHA for new home buyers is good. Conventional, it's more of a get what you can. It's not a FHA kind of shows you what you're going to get. Let me say that. FHA, they make sure everything is tip-top shape. Not really tip-top shape, but make sure everything is right in the home. Conventional can be as is. That's more for a investor. They know what they're getting. They can jump in and just get it and say, okay, I'm going to do this. Certain things needs to be done with the home. But FHA, it shows you certain qualities of the home. It's more of a, not to say new home, but it's a good loan to get. Veterans loan with certain people have, military background. They do the veterans. That's a great loan. You get everything into it. But FHA, I think this is better for new home buyers. FHA is better. Sorry. Okay. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I'll chime in.
I think FHA. I think FHA is better for new home buyers.
I think more so. Can you all hear me?
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
FHA has a lower requirement to get the loan. And so if you have a 620 or higher, some lenders can do 580 or higher, you typically are going to FHA route.
Yes.
For my lenders, 710, 700 is typically the threshold for conventional loans. in this market, a conventional loan is highly favored because, like she was saying, you have less requirements when it comes to like appraisals with a conventional loan. I don't say one loan is better than the other. At the end of the day, FHA is a good loan product. Conventional loan is a good loan product. It really just contingent upon what type of credit score and financing you have. Both of them have mortgage insurance. Both of them have different stipulations. The good thing is with conventional loan, if you put down 20% down payment, you don't have the mortgage insurance opt out that option. With FHA, you're mandated. And so in this market, if you have a conventional loan, you can forego the mortgage insurance. That's probably the best route because then you don't have to finance again. It's like we were just talking about. Just said, these are the best interest rates you're going to see probably in history. And so in that way, conventional is probably the strongest loan product versus FHA. VA, if you got the VA loan, you sitting in the money because you forego mortgage insurance. You don't have to put down the down payment, and they have very competitive interest rates.
Okay, so I'm gonna draft a scenario. I have a 680 credit score. I've been on my job for 4 years. I'm making $95,000. I have 2 kids. I'm looking to get engaged, and I want to move into a single family, and I want to get out of the hustle and bustle of inside the Beltway, so I want to get out on the outskirts. I want to get into the countryside a little bit. So the house I'm looking at, I'm on my app. I'm downloading all these realtor apps. Oh, this joint tough. Yeah, they got the backyard. They got a deck. Oh, I'm gonna do my parties out there. But it's 620. So
The purchase price. The
purchase price is 620,000, right? So my credit score, I'm making 95,000. What is my next step? What loan should I get? How do I get into that house? Or am I looking too high? What do I need to know my cap is? How do I know that?
So we get these questions all the time, and y'all can tell me if y'all agree or disagree. But it's so much more. So the debt to income ratio is a huge component. And so the credit score doesn't tell the whole story. And so I can't tell you, it's somebody who's making $200,000, but if they got a whole bunch of student loans, if they driving the Maserati and they got that car note and they got all these other expenses, then they'll probably be less approved than the person making $90,000 if they have no other debt. And so it's really hard to say which loan type is best for you. If you're at that 680 point, you're really on that threshold between a conventional and an FHA loan. And so that's when you talk to the lender. So not so much what is the best loan for you, but what's the best next step. And the best next step would be to talk to the lender to figure out what specifically would be the right loan type for you. Because sometimes the FHA payment can be higher than the conventional. And in other scenarios, the conventional payment can be higher than the FHA. And so it's very specific to your financial profile overall. And that information right there alone is not even enough for us to advise you on which loan type is better for you, just because that debt to income ratio, which is the debt of your student loans, your car note, your medical expenses, whatever else you have that you concur on a monthly basis, that really tells the story of which loan type is best for you.
I've actually had people who made less in income qualify for someone who made probably double because they were very conscious of how they spent their money, which which kind of factors when you're doing a debt ratio thing. So it really depends. It doesn't matter what kind of money you make. It's about how you spend your money, how you manage your money, and that's the most important thing. I even teach my agents, even as just being a team leader, you manage your money. You know what I mean? We make a lot of, people make a lot of money. They don't know how to manage their money. So you have to manage your money and manage your debt. How much debt? Be conscious of what you're doing. You know what I mean? If you have a business, create business and business credit to start shifting those things into your business opposed to your personal. So when they're running your credit, I had to learn the hard way. You know what I'm saying? A single mom before, I had to learn the hard way. But I think I got it. And I'm using what I've learned to help other people so they don't, run up against the same thing. Okay. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So we've talked a lot about buying a house. And some people have the situation where they're in a house, they need to sell their house and also find a new house.
Norman,
Yeah.
that's my favorite.
Let me get that right there. I need to know this one right here. That's my current situation, right?
That's your current
Yeah.
That's both of us.
Oh,
I got my
I was.
We can still talk. Sorry.
That's you, Ashley.
It's on you.
Oh. So you
One, I
said
take it.
you was next anyway, but you said if somebody is buying a house and they
Buying a
to
house. So the realtor, is it an expertise? Are you better at selling the house, or are you better at
I do both.
acquiring a house? Do you need
I
two
do both.
different realtors?
No, absolutely not.
It depends, because you
Okay.
do buyer and listing agent.
You have buyers and listing agents, but I do both. Get you somebody that do both. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, you don't have to have two different, because there are some people that just prefer to work with buyers. There are some people that just prefer to work with sellers. I do both. So if in that situation where you were trying to sell your home and buy a new one, I can help you do that, all that.
So
What was the question?
Let's stay right there real quick, because that's really my real life situation, right? So I'm actually trying to put my house on the market. From what I'm hearing right now, it's a seller's market. You know, if it's appraised at one price, you don't have to do any help right now. If it's appraised at this, but somebody offers over, you still win, right? So that's what I'm hearing. But then also, I'm a little nervous because as I go to look at that house that was 560, yeah, it's now 800, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, okay, maybe I need to buy some land and start that way and invest. So what is right now, as somebody who wants to sell their home, or let's look at it as an elderly person, they're trying to get out of their home, sell it, make some money, and get them something that's efficient for them. That's efficient for them, right? What is the perfect scenario right now in today's market?
An elderly person, I would put them in a senior living care.
Well, the first thing, like you said, selling a house, that's the easy part. What you just said is the seller's market. But the catch 22 is, where do I go after I sell in 30 days?
Hold the mic, hold the mic.
Yeah, where do I go in 30 days, right? So what I usually suggest to my clients, I tell them, let's do this. You know, we want to have a contingent. The house sales contingent upon you finding another home to live in. So we may do maybe like a 90-day to 120-day rent back. You know, so you'll sell the house, you'll get your funds and everything, but you still have at least about 4 to 5 months. I even know in some scenarios you can get up to a year.
Oh, Norman, you the man.
Yeah, you know, you can get up to a year with rent back.
So you telling me I can sell my home and stay in it for a year?
I need to say
Look, I'm going to holler at you.
But
You know what I mean?
but I do need to say something about that, Norman. We have to be careful how we tell our clients to do that, because FHA, you're not supposed to do that. With certain loans, you're not supposed to do that. I think VA as well. You could do like short rent backs, but we have to really be careful. And I know we have to be creative in this market, but we have to really be careful. I've also known, I own a property management company as well, and I've known people who've done that. And like we've already sold their house, did the rental, and then they couldn't get the people out of their house because something happened. And when that becomes an issue, and they can go to the board, they could come to us. We're supposed to know. So I just tell my fellow agents, be careful when they're doing the rent backs. Be creative and be aggressive with your offers, but also make sure that you're within the guidelines of that person's loan, because you don't want to come back. And this is a lethal industry for criminal charges. I know so many people in my decades of doing real estate who served time more than once.
Gotcha.
Okay?
So before we go to commercial, I do want to throw one more question out there. What are some of the things that raises the property value of a home? Is it the sink? Is it the bathroom? Right.
Sorry. Just you add an extra bathroom, extra room, make a den into a room, window, kitchen. Yes.
What makes it a room? What do you have to acquire a room?
A door, a closet, and a window.
What kind of window?
I think it's a specific.
It's called an egress window.
An egress. So for those that don't know an egress, what is an egress window?
An egress window is a window where,
Turn green.
yeah, an egress window is a window that a full body can actually exit if there was an emergency. So a lot of times you have rooms in the basement with the small, tiny windows, no matter if it's lower or upper. If a full body cannot fit out of that window, it's a certain measurements, but if you can't fit out that window, it's not considered egress. I don't care if you have a closet. I don't even care if you have a sliding glass door in the basement. You're supposed to have 2 ways of egress on each level. Okay? So that what makes underground. So that's very, very, very important. You know, but we make room, we do whatever we want to do with the room. Once you get the house, but for value, that's important. So you can make rooms all day long and you'll get adjustments for it being a finished room, but for an actual bedroom, it has to have those components.
But I tell my clients all the time, outside of like adding all the extra stuff, when you are going into a house, typically a buyer is very like scared. Kitchen and bathrooms are your like essential eyes. Like your bedrooms, it's gonna have the window, the door, and paint. Like it's nothing really else you can do. You know what I'm saying? Unless you expand the width or the height or the length. But if you're talking about what cosmetic things I can do to a property, the only real areas that somebody's looking at for like that visual appeal is your bathrooms and your kitchen. And so if you can't actually expand the house, focus on those 2 areas because that gives you, it should increase your appraisal value, but even if it doesn't increase your appraisal value, when you're looking to resell the property, those 2 areas are the most important to the home buyers.
Question for you. So I'm looking to sell a house, and this is just an example. I'm looking to sell my house. Should I paint the house white or should I leave it as is? And also, for the deck, should I restain the deck or should I leave the house as is or should I spend money investing into selling?
That's a good question, and that really depends on what the house looks like right now. Because I tell my clients all the time, what's nice to you may not be nice to a buyer. And so you're not selling the house to yourself. And so I know some of my clients like dark masculine colors. That is nice for a man. But what about the woman who wants to purchase that house? And so I'm very much a fan of trying to keep bright colors, make the walls white, and then allow me to see my vision of what I want to do to the house. A blank canvas. And so it really all depends on what the actual house looks like. But I would prefer if the house is white. If you go to a lot of these new construction homes, every wall is white because it allows people to see what they want to do to the house versus what you did. Because now I got to undo. And so that adds an extra expense. I got to take that gray wall out. I got to take this blue wall out. And so talk to a real estate expert and get their advice because you may have some real nice walls that we're going to keep. But for the most part, you typically want a white wall blank canvas type style home. And it brightens up the house and makes the house look larger, it makes it look bigger, it makes it feel more comfortable. So that's what typically appeals to the home buyer.
Okay, so as far as the DC area, especially in the city, the gentrification of the area, has that affected people that look like us in the real estate field?
What you saying?
I mean, we just want to know how that has done. We know what it's done to our neighborhoods, but what has it done to our realtors?
Well, to the realtors, like I'm gonna use myself because I do a lot of DC deals. I work with a lot of HPAP, the down payment assistance program in DC. And what happens is the program is great, and people, thank you. Right. I see. Yeah, but the market, what happens is, right, I'm gonna give y'all a good example. So, we got houses around this area right here, right? My grandmother used to own a house down the street, right? The house, they sold it, right? But if one of us want to go buy another house in this area, we probably couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Because when grandma bought it was like $58,000, $40,000 when she got it. But you know what I mean? Her house sold for like $758. But you know what I mean? Right now, I can't get a property for $758, and the average person in DC can't. So what happens is a lot of the people who can't, kind of still, they're in Anacostia, Deanwood, still, they still really can't get over, over that bridge, you know what I mean? So far as that's how it's kind of affecting the area. But at the same time, it's kind of good because the value goes up, you know what I mean? With the whole change of everything. So it's kind of like the gift and the curse, you know what I mean? It's like on one hand, it's like, we're pushing out a lot of people out. But if you don't sell a house, it's really not pushing you out. So it just all depends like what you want to do. You know what I mean? In some situations you gotta sell a house. It ain't working, you know what I mean? Taxes are due, and it may just be the best choice. But if you keep that house, like if we kept that house for another 5 years, maybe we $1 million in the next 5 years. You know what I mean? But we just didn't have the capacity to keep it. You know what I'm saying? So you just never know.
To me, I think before a resident of D.C., District of Columbia, and a lot of times it's not even the owners who are selling houses. It's the family members, or they've inherited a property, and their connection to the house is not like the owner's connection to the house. They are only thinking about the equity. I strongly suggest that you understand what you have, like what you're working with, and also have a plan. Don't just think about just cashing out. It's not about cashing out. It's about having a plan. If you are someone if you're selling a house, and a lot of times people are forced to sell homes in DC, probate, estate sales. They're forced to sell a house because families can't get along. You got somebody who wants to sell. The other people saying, well, let's hold on to it. Let's make a family house. They don't have a mortgage on it. They're just paying the taxes, and the taxes are nothing in D.C. We have to educate people on money and what to do with, money. Like, it's about generational wealth. Like having a plan with if you want to sell a house, the profit that you're going to make out of it. Have a plan on what you're going to do with the money. Reinvest it. And that's what people don't understand. And I understand, families go through stuff when, things happen, people pass away. But, it's, you really just have to have an understanding and a plan when you're selling a home. And it can't just be about, my house is worth $800,000. Well, I tell my client to sell a house, I'm an investor. I've been investing just as long as I've been selling real estate. I always tell my clients, I don't care if you're buying this house as a home owner occupant, it is still your investment. And to me, if you get a certain amount of equity in that home, I think anybody should try to plan, make plans for that equity. Don't just kind of blow it, but make plans for it. Even if you do an equity line of credit, home equity line of credit, to reinvest that money and to make more money. Like, you just have to have a plan. Don't just go and cash out for nothing just because you want money. But again, in a district, we have a lot of people who struggle with and wrestle with a lot of different things, from addictions and all kind of stuff. But okay.
Going back to gentrification is not a black race versus white race thing.
It's not.
No.
Gentrification is about socioeconomic power. And unfortunately, black people have less economic power than our counterparts. And so it's about
And knowledge.
And so think about gentrification, like we were saying earlier, it's about the money. And the money is, let's stop buying these luxury apartments. We can own something. The money is, let's stop driving these luxury cars. We can own property. Let's change the mindset of owning a house. Because a lot of times we look at owning a house as an expense. The house is an asset. My house appreciates more than any stock savings that I have. And so the amount that I put in, I'm doubling that on appreciation. So when we look at money and we think about what a house is, it changes the mindset. And so we think about how do we combat gentrification. We talk about money. We be very transparent about finances. We talk about don't allow these scamming investors to come to your house and say, I'm offering $400,000 in cash, and then you out. You get what I'm saying? Because the reality is your house is worth way more. So how do we as black builders continue to educate our clients on the value of their home and let them know this is the true value of your home? How do you do the sweat equity so you can increase your value by $50,000, $75,000 if you really hurt it with cash? How do you take out an equity line of credit instead of just selling the property? So we got to, one, address that gentrification is not a race thing. It's a social economic thing. and how do we take advantage of it, and what are the different avenues that you can cash out on your house and still own it. And so those are the resources that realtors need to provide, the conversations we need to have to be able to ensure that we're not behind in this pendulum of the wealth gap.
Nice, Kyle. Ashley, you got something?
Just real quick, just piggybacking on what both of them just said, I think it's very important for us to educate our people. Because, I mean, a lot of people just don't know. It's not that we aren't going to do it, we just don't know. So I think it's very important as realtors or as people who have the knowledge to share it. It's free. You can Google anything. I mean, it's 2021. You can Google anything. But people don't. I'm an avid believer that people don't read because they don't. They need somebody that they know and trust to tell them. As realtors, that's our job. We have a fiduciary responsibility to represent whoever we are representing. But I also believe that knowledge is free, knowledge is power. And I believe our community is not privy to certain knowledge. So I believe it is our job because real estate transcends every business, every industry ever. If we dominate in the real estate business, the tables will turn. We will control other things as well. But that's the thing that we have to realize and understand.
Gotcha.
So I do believe it's our duty or anybody's duty that has the knowledge to share it.
So you said knowledge, right? So where do we find the knowledge? What programs out there for those that are just jumping into the workforce?
Google.
So start with
Like,
Google.
no. I mean,
So
just to start, simply, it's easy. It's not hard. But some people, I don't know. I don't want to use certain words, but some people are just right. Some people are just they like to deal with people that they know and trust. So it's just easier to receive information from somebody that you trust. Mm-hmm. Rather than some people don't like to go or don't know how to go look for it for themselves.
Right. So there are programs to help. So let's say, for instance, I worked at Chick-fil-A for 4 years, and now I finally got my big job. I'm in the government, or I'm working for a corporation or a company, right? And I'm making a decent amount, but instead of going the apartment route, I'm here. I just watched this show. And if I'm making a certain amount, you just said it doesn't matter how much you make, it's how you do your finances, right? So if I'm watching this show and you said knowledge is key, I don't want to go the apartment route. Now I want to try to buy a house, but I don't feel like my finances is just there. Is there any programs that help push me over the hump to buy a house?
Yes. You can reach out to your local realtor. Like I said, I'm with Keller Williams and my fellow realtors here. It's a lot of companies out there that can help you. We have the knowledge to help you. Just call. I have all of my cards. I know these folks do, but we are knowledgeable about the programs that you can, like you said, the HPAP program. You start with DC. If you're in DC, Maryland has a program as well. I think it's, the Maryland Mortgage Program. They have different programs in each city that you're in to help you with your financing and with housing. Yes. It's ample. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
We have the AFAP program, the Home Purchase Assistance Program. That's a program that gives you towards your down payment and your closing costs up to $96,000. Maryland has a program called MMP, which is the same thing as these self-employed to pay your down payment. They have a program if you got student loans. It's called the Smart Buy Home program, where you can exchange your student loans for a mortgage.
Yeah, run that back one more time, because a lot of people that's watching the program have a lot of student loans. So just run. I'm sorry to cut you off, but run that one more time.
Let me run it back for you.
Yeah, run it back.
It's called the Smart Buy program. And so if you got 100,000 student loans, this ain't for you.
Yeah.
This is for the person who has, or it's for $40,000 or less in student loans. And essentially, it also goes based off the purchase price of the property. And so for every, don't quote me, but for every $100,000, you get $10,000 back. So if you're buying a home for $300,000, they'll give you $30,000 towards your student loans. But the challenge is, Kyle has $50,000 student loans. I'm gonna give you the $30,000, but you can't purchase the home having $20,000 student loans left. So you have to pay that difference all off. You can't go into the house with any student loans at all. And so if you don't have the amount that was in that threshold of which you qualify for in student loans, it may not be the best program for you. But also, I'm not gonna go into a tangent, but when you look at these programs, look at the interest rates. Because the interest rates of these programs are higher than what you would qualify for if you don't use the programs. So I always say everything that good ain't gold. And it's free money ain't free. And so what you may find out is, okay, I get the Smart Buy Home Buyer program, and I got rid of my student loans. But my student loan monthly payment was $100. If I do my mortgage without this program, my mortgage is $1,500. With the program, my mortgage is $1,800. So that means if I don't do the program, I have my $1,500 mortgage, I have my $100 student loan, that's $1,600 in total. But if I do the program, my loans are gone, but now my mortgage is $1,800. Which one makes more sense? And so you need your realtor, your lender to guide you and show you all the various alternatives of the program to know that if the program actually makes sense for you or if it doesn't. But at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, if you don't have any money to put down up front, don't forego not purchasing a home to avoid the program. Use the program to get a house. And then you can always figure out if you finance out the program and do whatever you have to because you're getting that equity and appreciation that you would have if you was paying rent. And you get the tax write-offs of owning a home. So it makes sense to use the program, but if you have that cash up front and you're just trying to save it, make sure it's the best option for you.
So with all of the training, with all of that, I want to ask about the information that you just shared, the training that you had to go through to know all of this information. And I know you all are part of a team of realtors. Does that make you? Do you refer to the team? Is it easy to be with part of a real estate team? And how do you find that right team? Is it about the team or is it about the realtor?
Well. So for me, it's about the team. It's about, I believe the more experienced agent, the more agents you have on your team that are experienced and the better the team is, and we can actually accommodate our clients a lot better. A lot of the team. So for me, especially for new agents, I definitely believe a team is the best route. Not any team, not just any team, because you have some teams, they operate differently. I can't speak about it. The way I operate my team is all about education.
And your team is?
Team Flow D. But no, Team Flow D is my team, but I really am big on educating my agents. It's very important that they understand not only the market, they understand financing, they understand credit, they understand people, characteristics of people, how to handle people, how to deal with different situations. And that's what I'm good with teaching my team. Anybody could go out and sell a house here and there, but to be consistent and and to work with integrity and have that knowledge that you need to be successful, you really need a good team leader, mentor, someone who's selfless, someone who's going to share just anything with you, someone who's going to pick up the phone and answer your questions. You know what I mean? And again, like even with me, it's not about money, because team, I need a team because I can't handle all of my clients. But it's just about me making sure in our area and our community that we have some good, skilled agents, because not all agents are skilled and not all agents are in this business because they have a passion for it. So that is what my goal is.
So look, once again, this is the Realtor Show. This is our 5th episode. Thank you to Remy Martin we're going to transition the show to actually get to know y'all a little bit. So the show is called Sports and Culture. I just gave us the culture piece. We learned how to buy a house. Now we want to get to know y'all. So, want to come here. If you had a chance to be a realtor for anybody, an entertainer, an athlete, anybody of your choice, who would you pick and why? And I want everybody actually to answer that question. If you had a chance to be a realtor for any entertainer, athlete, anybody famous, who would it be and why?
Oh man, that's a hard one. This is like, all right.
You about to say Oprah?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Jigga man.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Jigga and B. I'm rolling with them, man. You know what I mean? They want to do any real estate in DC, anywhere in the world. I love definitely work with them, man. You know
And
what I
why?
mean? I'm big fans of them. I've been following them since I was younger. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm definitely a big fan. So I definitely love to do that, man. He does a lot for the community as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
What's your favorite album of Jay-Z?
Reasonable Doubt.
Classic.
Yeah. Can't Knock the Hustle, my favorite song.
Okay,
Yeah,
I feel you.
Yeah. To this day.
Hi, Kyle.
Okay, so the
Go ahead and do your pitch, Kyle. Kyle about to pitch.
okay. So part of Kyle was say Jeff Bezos.
Respect.
Let me tell you. I mean, the reality is like, he gonna buy a nice house, and I'm probably gonna sell a real nice house too if I'm working with Jeff Bezos. But if it wasn't even about the money, but it was just somebody I want to be around, I want to breathe the same air as the Obamas. Give me Michelle and Barack.
That's nice.
Like, and a lot of people, they realtor for life. They friend, they mentee. Like, they from Chicago. I'm from Chicago. Like, Michelle, Southside, I'm Southside. And so, like, if I could be in the presence of somebody and help them sell a home, it would be Michelle and Barack. But if I'm just worried about the pockets, we might just say Jeff Bezos.
I respect that. Where we at, Ashley? What about you?
Like Norman, I was gonna say J and B, just because I've admired Jay-Z since I was like a kid. Like I love that man differently. I don't know, whatever. People who know me already know. But no, just to be in that presence of greatness, and I think they would hold me to a higher esteem and make me step my game up even more than whatever it already is. And that's what's important to me, like always elevating. So I think that J and B I don't think they would go easy on me, and I'm gonna give it right back. And I think that's what would make the situation special. So that's why.
Well, I would say someone who I've admired, who's helped me spiritually, someone who helps me just in all aspects other than, God, I can't, he owns everything. But T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes is someone that I truly admire. I see what he does in not just his community, but worldwide. And that's important to me. Missionary work, just the impact he has on just one single person, but it's just, it didn't even take much. He can just speak life into something. You can have a simple conversation with him, and you can leave with so much. Urban Investors was created because of property management investments. Investing flows away. I established that when I was in Dallas at a retreat of his. At night, and I go by myself for weeks at a time, at least 7 days, by myself, and the hotel with the best view. And after I come from the retreat, I just sit in my room with my journal and write. And so many things manifest from just being in his presence. His wife. Not everybody's perfect, but the impact that he has on people of all nationalities, all ethnic groups,
all race. He just, you know what I mean? So anyway, TD Jakes.
Well, that's a great group to follow. I don't have a specific person. You wouldn't believe it if I tell you, but I'm a JC fan. But anyone that would seek out my help, any black investor, I mean, white too, but just to help my people, it would be any great investor. I mean, celebrity, I guess.
So
Let me see. A celebrity.
that's a great answer. That's a great answer.
That's a great answer. I'm just saying anyone, you know.
Anyone that's looking.
Anyone that's looking, I'm willing, you know, because you don't know who.
Anyone that's saying.
You
So
don't
my
know
next
who's
question.
a celebrity, you know, it could be
My
anyone.
next question, and we're gonna keep it on just the
Yes.
sports and culture topic. We know a lot of young athletes. They get drafted. They're young. They get a lot of money, and the first thing they want to do is they want to get a home. Right from college, they've been in a dorm. They want to get a house. Most of the time, the mom is the one designing the house that you got to deal with, not really the actual athlete. So, and then sometimes you have the newlywed couples. Does that when you have those first time buyers, those who got the money trying to get a house, who do you go to first? Do you want to make sure the wife is good, or you want to make sure the mom is good? Or I know guys kind of take a back seat on the houses. They just want the man cave and that's it. So your target is first make sure happy wife, or is that what we do?
Just let me answer, because I am actually not a celebrity, but my client I'm working with now, she's buying a house for herself, but her mother is making all the decisions. So it's like I'm targeting, where's your mom? You know, every house that we've been to, we've been working with each other since January. And because it's a seller's market, we've been bidding, and no one has really, you know, I just got a contract. So I'm grateful for that.
Very good.
But it's the mom,
Congratulations.
you know, it's her mom. Every time, and her mother's not even living there, but it's her mom. It has to have this kitchen, yes. It has to have this area for her mom's decorations, because her mother is a interior decorator. So it's all about her mom. So that's who I go after.
So it
But
really doesn't matter
who's purchasing the
writes
house?
the
Yes.
check.
No, it's all about the person that's
has the most input.
exactly, and that's what it's about. So yes.
So I'm currently, like, honestly, when it comes to celebrity and athletes, I come from a family of athletes, as you know. This is like my little cousin, right, by the way. So I come from a family of athletes, doctors, and just all type of people, right? So right now I'm working with the mother of a Denver Nuggets player. And the moms like to spend their son's money. The problem is with a lot of the athletes, you'll be surprised, they don't have good credit, or they don't have enough credit. And guess what? The mom's credit is tore up to the floor. So then you have the mom is trying to, negotiate and set everything up. And it makes it kind of hard for you as the agent. So a lot of times I kind of back away from those transactions. Like, I really back away from them because they could be stressful. And with the day-to-day business for a realtor is stressful. I would rather deal with someone I know I can reach mentally and get them into a home and keep it moving versus I'm spending all of my energy on one person. And it's too much energy. But so what I put my standards down. But it's very important for athletes to, again, monitor their credit. You know what I mean? And also, has standards for how much leverage are they going to give their moms or their wives to make the decisions? You know what I mean?
Okay. Now, before we close out the show, we're going to end with you three. Give us a scenario. What is your worst situation as a realtor? Give us that moment where you was just like, nah, this not going to work.
So
You ain't got to say that name.
I know this particular woman is not privy to all of this situation, but I just went through a situation with a woman who was selling her house for almost $1 million. I was her 5th realtor. That should have been a red flag, but I like a challenge. Sold her house. Soon as we got the house under contract, mind you, I can't sign any papers for you. I cannot do anything without your consent. When she signed those papers, I was public enemy number 1, and she hated me. I was the worst person in the world.
Wow.
She wanted to speak to everybody except for me, as if I was giving her wrong information. She knew I wasn't giving her wrong information because she's been through this process a million times, okay? So just managing people is very important, and knowing how to keep your cool. As a realtor, we deal with a lot of different personalities within one transaction, within one day. You deal with a lot, and people don't understand that. But that was probably my most difficult. She don't even know what I gave up for her just to, for lack of a better word, shut her up.
Yeah, nah, we
And
good.
she still didn't shut up, but whatever. But no, we deal with a lot of stuff that people don't even people think real estate is easy. It's not. It's
Gotcha.
really not. Like,
Okay.
so that was a challenge. It was a growth aspect for me, I believe, because I kept my cool for so long. And I'm not used to people like blatantly being super disrespectful to me, especially when I'm like the nicest person on the planet. If y'all
Right,
don't
so
know.
y'all people too. So what about your scenario?
I'm like her. I'm not going to talk about any past clients.
right.
I gotta walk the streets. I know. It's all
Right.
I gotta walk the streets, right? But I'm gonna talk about a situation that's pretty sad. Happened, during the. I will not say it, but I'm just saying stuff that happens, right? So I had a client, young girl, that worked HPAT program. Been working with her probably about a year. We finally found a condo last year, and she was about to close on her house. I'm talking like 3 days before she's closed, and she got furloughed.
Ooh.
And she could not buy the house. And to this
Wow.
day, she's just, she's still devastated, heartbroken, and I'm still right now trying to get her back. Because she got a job again now. She got new jobs. I'm trying to get her back.
So you loyal.
Yeah.
Okay, so if y'all
Yeah.
looking for a loyal
Yeah,
realtor,
most
you
definitely.
know what I mean?
Most
Okay.
definitely. Yeah. But it was sad, man. I mean, it just broke my heart. You know what I mean? Little girl crying like a baby, man, and it hurt. You know
Oh,
what
the
I mean?
women watching, they gonna
Yeah.
be on your line. I like it.
Yeah.
I like
But
it.
that's far as I'm gonna take it though. Other than that,
My man.
now, after this at the bar, we can talk some stories.
What about you, Kyle? Let's close with you.
Two type of situations. The first one is champagne taste beer budget.
Okay.
And so, I mean, the challenge is setting expectations. So I went to, and then the other part, and this kind of goes back to your last question. So I went to Howard, and a lot of people who went to Howard all got rich parents. So I haven't sold to an athlete, but I sold to multiple kids of NFL players and NBA players and et cetera. And so, like you say, when you have a multitude of decision makers, when everybody has a say, when you can't, and so I think for us as agents, it's like determining who the decision makers are and making sure they're in the room at every given moment. But also, like, as the realtor, you really become like, you more than a realtor. I'm a therapist. I'm your best friend. I'm your secret soulmate. I'm everything. And so you have to take on all these emotions. And so, like, for myself personally, at least every 6 weeks, I gotta get away because I had to come back re-energized, recouped. And so, like, the job can be a lot, but you have to learn how to set boundaries for yourself so that you can come back refreshed, because we work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We work every single day. And so, like, once you set those boundaries, nothing about the job can really discourage you.
Got you. Well, once again, we like to thank our panel. Once again, we'd like to thank Danny at 8th Street. We're down here at Vibes. We'd like to thank Union Media. And once again, our sponsors, shout out to Remy Martin. We'll be next week here with the Pop Warner commissioners of all our DMV football. Thank you again. My host, Coach Bird, any closing words?
No closing words. You need a realtor, we got the best of the best right here.
Yeah, shout out to my man Antoine Bill, one of the best to do it as well.